Episode 62 is a conversation with Adir Oren, founder of Gigaroo, a financial stability provider for Gen Z. Adir has over 20 years of experience as business and technology leader, having founded 2 companies before Gigaroo, and his passion is to harness technology for the development of business solutions in B2B and B2C. Thanks for coming on the podcast.
Good morning.
Good morning. We talked about you moving here from Israel, which is your home country.
Yeah.
And I would be curious to hear what made you do that. Tel Aviv is a known sort of rising tech hub. A lot of great companies are coming out of there. What made you move to the US and why Austin?
So basically, when you decide to have a startup, you need to go to a bigger market. And Israel is not a market that you can fundraise for. So when we had this idea, we thought about what will be the best city to do in the US a pilot, an MVP. So my partner Yair, he lived in Austin a couple of years, and since Austin started to become like a very big tech hub, he told me, listen, Austin is the best place to run an MVP. We have lots of Gen Z here, over 140,000 students, UT, ACC.
140,000
students in all over Austin, over 1 million population. It's a Gen Z city, lots of venues, music, cool city, and this is why we chose Austin.
It's a good idea, and there's not a lot of competition because it's a new tech hub.
So there are competition, which is good. It means that there is a good market for what we do. Mm-hmm. Every company, every startup is trying to tackle this situation in a different angle. We have our own value proposition, and so we love competition. It makes us to be better over and over again.
That's the right approach. I love it.
Yeah.
So Gigaroo, from what I understand, is it's like a 2-in-1 app where you provide marketplace for students to find jobs, and where you provide a financial platform for students to accept payments and then manage their finances.
Exactly.
Have I summarized it well, or would you add anything?
Yeah, so our angle is that we want to provide to the young generation, now is Gen Z, the next one is Gen Alpha, we want to provide them with financial stability. And the first thing to provide with financial stability is to find the right job for the long run. Now, one of the biggest challenges Gen Z has is 77% of them are working in the service industry. Now, there is a really big gap because the service industry don't provide with Gen Z with the right flexible needs that they need to have. For instance, if I'm a college student and I can work only 1 day in a week, 4 hours of shift, who will hire me? So we're here, first of all, to match this, to bridge this gap. So we find all of the students, we start from the ages of 15 to 30. Mm-hmm. We match it with the right position that is flexible to their needs. And once they're started to work in this same location, so they get a steady income for the long run. And then in the next step, we're providing them to get their shift money in the next day. Because currently, they do need the money on a daily basis, so they need a cash flow.
Yeah.
So we're here also to bridge this pain, and once you consider these 2 very basic elements, this is the success.
So when you say you're providing students with a job for the long term, mm-hmm. do you mean for the period of their studies?
It depends on them. So we have students that are not originally living in Austin, for instance. So during the semester, we can offer them various of job options. By the way, we are not the employer. We're mm-hmm. only doing this facilitating of the matching. So if I'm free to work in this semester, you can get into the Gigaroo app. You can find your exact match, whether it's, can we say the names of our customers?
Yeah.
So we can match it with Amy's Ice Cream, with Ziteas, Sazan, Daibuku, Thunder Club Sub. So all of those big chains that we're working with, they know that they need to have flexibility in what they offer to the students. And that sticks to the long run, because up until now, one of the biggest pains is that Gen Z moves every 3 to 4 weeks to a different job. And the reason is because they don't have the flexibility they need. So this is the pain that we're here to solve, because we match you. Even if you can work 1 day in a week, 4 hours shift, we will match you with the right position for the long run. So you can work in the whole semester.
Mm-hmm. How is it that this problem is new, that it hasn't been solved before? Or what solutions were on the market before you came in?
So I think, again, as we see it, COVID expedited this process tremendously. So up until COVID, everything was working fine. Everybody worked, 9 to 5,
Yeah.
everything standard. COVID showed everyone that, first of all, they can work from home, they have a work-life balance, and that started to be like a standard for Gen Z. They really, really cherish work-life balance. They want to have flexibility. If I cannot work today, I want to work in the next day. So all of these key elements, COVID expedite. And now this is the way we all live. We need to have flexibility. Even I am as a CEO of a startup company, I need to provide to my employees, to the developers, the flexibility. If they cannot work from office, okay, work from home. So everything now these days is flexibility.
Mm-hmm. But doesn't that harm the employer? When it comes to training, for example, they have to invest resources in training someone. And why would they do so if that person is going to quit in 2-3 months and they can only work, 5 hours per week?
That is a great question. So first of all, currently most of the employer are having really hard time to find employees. They have nothing. So they either close on weekends or they close at nights. They have a really hard time to find good employees. So what we do is we try to find them with the right relevant candidate. So assuming you have someone that can work for you 2 days in a week and you invest in the training and they love the place and you provide them with flexibility, and through Gigaroo we provide them also with the next day payments, they will stay also for the next semester and the next semester. And for all of those thousands that are living in Austin, this is a steady job for them. Even though they're W2 part-time employees, they still work part-time, but for the long run. We have individuals that we staffed for full-time, 50% of the time working in one place and another 50% in another place. So, and it's working. We have, I think already almost 10 testimonials from businesses saying exactly like that we've matched them with the right candidates for the long run. We have 90% of job stability. All of those employees that we staffed are in the same position for the last 4 months, which is amazing.
So on average, people have 2 jobs on the app?
It depends. It depends. Now, one of the challenging part in the service industry is even if I am, let's say I'm a Gen Z, but I'm not a college student, and I want to work full time. Nobody will hire me full time as a busser or a runner because then they will need to pay for me benefits. And this is another pain that we're going to solve because the service industry don't pay you anything. So you're either W2 part-time employee or 1099. So in the future, in our third pillar, we're going to provide to all of those employees also access to unique program as healthcare, dental care, vision with unique prices. So they will be able to provide themselves the security that they need. And that way we close all of the loop.
That would be amazing. So you don't work just with students, you work with anyone who is interested in part-time, services, jobs, flexibility.
Anyone. Now, by the way, we've staffed in the last dozens of staffing people in the ages of 35, 40, people who work full-time, but they need an extra money. So basically everyone. But in our go-to-market, we have tailored our app solution to be for Gen Z, for the young generation. But everyone these days needs an extra money and they're downloading the Gigaroo app and finding flexible jobs, and it's working amazing.
That's amazing. Well, who's your biggest competitor here in Austin?
I think Indeed, in the matter of matching, I think Indeed is one of the biggest competitors exists, I think, to everybody. But again, their value proposition is much different than what we provide. So we're coming from to provide Gen Z with financial stability, and we're closing the loop from matching you with the right position to the payments and benefits, while Indeed is only focusing in the first pillar, which is the matching. But still, the matching for us is only the hook to bring users because we want to work with them. We want to offer them our services. So Indeed will be the right answer for the first pillar. For the next, for the second pillar of the payments, there are several of providers that offers next day payments, but none of them focus on the SMB market. So we offer on Gen Z the SMB market, food and retail. In the next one, we'll add additional industries. So this is our unique value proposition.
So it's the combination of those two.
Of those three, actually.
3.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
A unified solution.
So most of your employers on the platform are restaurants, fast foods.
Yeah, so we have restaurants, coffee shops, venues, music venues, supermarkets. Yeah.
How do you go about creating partnerships with those? So you moved here a year and a half ago. You knew no one, had no connections.
Yeah.
How did you get started?
So my partner Yair, he's done his MBA here in Austin. So he has well connection all over the city. We believe in networking. So before we started the company, we flew 2 times to Austin to talk with businesses and college students and in general Gen Z about the pain. We created the network. At the beginning, we had a KPI that we want to work with 5 design partners, only 5. We approached them, we told them about our vision. They believed in us. They gave us the opportunity that they would give us a feedback. And at the beginning, we had only 5 design partners, and now we have we have 32 customers. And they're already paying customers, so it's amazing. We're currently over 97 locations here in Austin, which we're helping them to staff 197 different type of positions.
Wow.
So it's growing rapidly.
That's you started when?
So we launched officially on the 2nd week of January, once everybody came back from their
this
vacation.
year?
This year.
That's great progress.
4 months.
6 months in. And
Yeah, we have 7,000 users already using the Gigaroo app. We have great adoption. We have 76% of engagement, which is amazing. We've staffed dozens of employees already, and so far it works great.
That's great. Well, as you know, now is summer break.
Yeah.
I think from April 30th to August, mid-August, students are out of town. And then from December to January. How do you deal with this shortage of workers?
So first of all, you need to keep in mind that even though there are lots of students that are coming out of town, there's lots of students that lives in Austin. So for instance, all of the students that are in ACC, almost I think 70,000 of them, they live in Austin. So this is only students. There is lots of other population that lives here with the common population. So we don't see it as a real issue because we help everybody. So it's working.
Yeah. So you said from the student side, the problem is flexibility, the need to have next day wages and so on.
Yeah.
What's in it for the employer?
So,
since they have to pay a monthly subscription fee to you.
Exactly. So the employers currently, and this is also a different value proposition that we came to the market. Most of the staffing companies or agencies, they're charging every customer, they group it for a amount of locations. So if you have 10 locations, 20 locations, 30, 40. Since our business is not staffing, it's the payment, the fintech, we told every employer that wants to work with Gigaroo and to publish their positions, $99 flat fee per month, which is a no-brainer price. You just pay to show your commitment, because if it's free, they will treat it as free, and it will be not in that of a quality. So they're paying $99 per month. They're publishing their position with unlimited job posting, unlimited location. It doesn't matter if Amy's Ice Cream has 20 locations, 25 or whatever, you pay $99 and that's it. And you get this pool of candidates that we offer you. We have 2 apps. We have the B2C side for the Gen Z, and we have the B2B for the business. And whenever there is a match inside of our system, we provide an internal scoring from every candidate. And only the ones that are matching 80% and above, we send it to the employer. And through the app, they're communicating with us. I want to interview face-to-face, Zoom. I want to hire him to decline. So this is how it works.
That's amazing. How does the AI matching work? You have 1,700 positions available, something like that?
So we have 197.
Okay, 197.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So I will not get into to specify how we do that, but what I can tell you is that we have 3 different layers of machine learning algorithm that we have developed. And this is our IP. We have the first one, which is the very basic and common, let's call it the employer requirements versus the candidate. So in our onboarding process for the B2B, for the user, we ask him question like how much money you would like to earn on a weekly by weekly. And if you want to earn, let's say, $500, we tell you exactly how many, dollars, how many hours you need to work. And then what is your preferred shift length, the availability. We try to staff you to a business which is near your home location. So we ask 6-7 questions from the B2C. We ask several questions from the employer, and this is the basic match. The second one is we filter out the ones that are not relevant, that doesn't qualify the requirements. And the third one is an internal algorithm of scoring a system that we have developed that currently help us to match with the right candidate. And in the next phase in the fintech will also provide us the ability to provide a financial scoring to every individual.
Well, I mean, apart from schedule or timing differences, it seems to me that most students are the same. They have no experience. They're eager to work, right? They want to make money. And right now, because you have 197 positions, do you think the AI is really helpful yet? Or do you think that manual matching would be a better start?
So we have showed that the automation that we have done is working beautifully. So our full automated scoring system is working now. The interesting part is that we have 78% of success rate from the interview part to the hire, meaning that every candidate that we're sending to our employers are a bingo. They all need to meet them to see that they have the right vibe and attitude to the place. And this is a huge success. So, by the way, the industry benchmark is 19% of success rate.
Wow.
And we hit the 78. So when you will talk with our customers, they will tell you, and this is a question that I'm getting asked I don't know what to say every day, but constantly, how that is that we up until now worked 15 years with this and that, and you came to the market, and in 2 months you found me a better quality and a better candidates than the others. And it's because of our system.
So if I'm a student, I apply for a job through the marketplace.
Through the app. Yeah.
Through the app. Is it first come, first serve? So if I meet certain criteria, do you immediately introduce me to the employer? Or do you wait until you get certain number of applications and then you select the best one?
So we don't wait. So in the minute that you apply for a position, our matching scoring started to get into engagement. There is a but. If our customer success, for instance, see that there is a missing details, we approach to the candidate and we tell them, listen, we need to have this and this information. Please get into your profile, edit your profile experience. If you have a certification is a must these days. You need to have TABC, food vendor experience. So we're not directly sending a profile to the business because we want to make sure that our matching is working. So we're making sure that we have all of the pieces. So if, for instance, someone has scored 75%, we're helping him to get to the 80 or 85% to get the additional information. So we're communicating directly, either with direct text or phone. They're correcting or adding their experience, and only then we're sending them to the employers.
So are students applying generally on the app for any job or to a specific business, specific employer?
Specific. Specific. So once you have answered the 6 questions that we ask you in the onboarding, we're showing you a calendar of options, and we're giving you a recommendation according to our best match. So for instance, I've answered all of the 6 questions. Now our system found you that you can work in Amy's Ice Cream or Sazan. Now you have the option either to accept it, because when we offer you this position, we also taking into consideration the location, how far is from your home location. But if you don't want to work there, you can get into and ask for more jobs, and then you're getting into the marketplace, and then you can work for everyone that you want.
Can you walk me through the sales cycle? You said that your partner is, are you technical or is he technical?
I am the technical.
You're technical.
Unfortunately, I'm the technical. Yeah.
Well, I'm sure that you know how the sales cycle works anyways. Can you walk me, how do you approach employers, restaurants? How long does it take to sell them on the business?
Yeah. So my partner Yair, he's doing the amazing job. He's responsible. He's the company CRO, Chief Revenue Officer. He's responsible on the operational side and to provide us with additional businesses. So basically, the sales cycle is very, very light, and it doesn't take that time because, first of all, the price is a no-brainer. It's not that you need to talk about hundreds of dollars. So almost every employer that we reach to, and we have in our backlog over 50 new businesses that are not working still with the Gigaroo app because we're trying to keep the balance inside of the app between the supply and demand.
Yeah.
But we have a backlog of businesses. So as soon as we have more candidates inside of the platform, we're releasing new businesses. So he's building his pipeline either from direct approach or now these days, in the last months, we're getting all of sort of requests coming from mouth to ear that they heard about that they're working with Gigaroo, and we staffed them with the right position. And it started to get viral from inside the student community and also from the businesses. So, yeah.
How do you go about outreach to Gen Z, to students?
Great question.
Or how did you get in there in the first place?
Yeah, that is a great question. So I think that every startup that starts in our position has this challenge on the user acquisition cost. How do you get into users and how much it will cost you? So we have figured out how we can bring the best students or candidates in the low cost by working with the three major channels. So the first one, of course, as you imagine, it's online campaigns. So we publish in online campaigns, we publish in Google, Instagram, TikTok, everywhere the Gen Z goes to. Now the additional one is we're approaching them directly with grassroots activities that we're doing. We have brand ambassadors that is super, super helpful, and we're blessed of having a great guys working with us as brand ambassadors.
So did you advertise on the school board?
Yeah. Exactly.
Are you paying them?
We pay them, yeah.
Paying them.
Yeah. I don't believe in free. Everyone who is working, even though it's like an internship, we paying them the minimum, the minimum wage. Yeah. We pay a bit higher, but we're paying everyone. The working, as you can imagine, part-time, couple of weeks, a couple of hours on a weekly basis. And it has reduced our user acquisition cost dramatically. And the third one is affiliate programs that we're doing all over.
Affiliate marketing.
Yeah.
So what's the role of a brand ambassador?
So brand ambassador, as the name brand ambassador. Yeah. So basically they represent our brand. Their aim is to go to the communities, local community, local friends, and to tell them about what is Gigaroo. Once they're starting, let's call it like event, we're having the stabling events, we're putting our roll up, everybody is working, see what Gigaroo is doing, they're asking us questions, you can download the app, you can test it, try it. They're our brand ambassadors for the app.
And do they stick to UT or do they go to other local communities?
Other local communities as well. So we have brand ambassadors in every community college, or not community, but every college. And we're basically doing on a weekly basis, we're going circling every, and by the way, we're doing it together with the universities. So we've partnered with all of the universities, and this is our playbook for the next rollout as well.
That's amazing. It seems like you know what you're doing.
We're trying to. It's not an easy task. It took us time to get there. It's still not easy because when you talk with, even though it sounds very impressive, when you talk with investors or VCs, they tell you, okay, why you don't hit the 10,000? Why don't you hit the 20,000? So it's like you're always trying to run as best as you can, but it's
never enough.
It's not enough. Yeah. So again, Gigaroo is not our first startup, so we're trying to accept what makes sense and what doesn't make sense, and we know that there are good investors that they're not just fit for Gigaroo, and it's okay because there's plenty of them that fits to Gigaroo and plenty of all of those on there. Why didn't you hit the 10,000, 20,000, 30,000? Yeah. Okay, this is not us. Thank you very much. We will talk you in the next round. Let's call it like this. So you need to choose the investor that you want to work with and what type of effort you need to put, because I have 1,000 tasks that I'm running in parallel on every day, and it's time consuming. And but we are doing mistakes as well. So it's not that everything is working beautifully.
Well, I wanted to ask you, can you tell me about your failures early on? And then what were your previous businesses? Did they relate to fintech, marketplaces, or not?
So a bit of my history. So I started as a programmer back then in 2000 in SAP. I started my journey as a technology developer. Then I moved to product management. And then I moved to a very big company that you know, IBM. And IBM was the best business school ever. It doesn't matter what you learn in university.
Yeah.
The real life really goes with... I learned my life in IBM. So in IBM, I was exposed to all of the financial sector and what is the business proposition, the SMB market. And once I've done money for IBM, they said, okay, let's do money for myself. And then I opened my first startup in 2010. It was on BI and analytics. We helped the SMB market as well. I took existing technologies and I harnessed it to develop a new market offering to the SMB market. Because they approached me, they told me, listen, we want this and that solution, but we cannot afford that. So I took this pain and I started a startup to offer the SMB market new technologies that they can afford and to give them the visibility. So we started with food and beverage companies to provide them the food cost analysis, what it means about location. So lots of dashboards. So we help them to understand how to run their business wisely and in a more efficient way.
So you found the problem through IBM. Customers of IBM came to you that they couldn't afford their solution.
In my first startup, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, in my first startup, yeah. So it was like a huge gap.
Wow.
Because all of those solutions cost millions of dollars. And
they must have hated you.
And I told myself, okay, if I and I had a couple of friends in the SMB told me, listen, why we cannot achieve that? So one day I told myself, okay, let's try to understand how we can do that in a fixed price that every SMB customer can afford that. Everybody, of course, at the beginning told me it's not possible, there's too many customization. I told them, listen, okay, I will try to think about it. And so we started with nothing. And when I sold the company, we had over 400 customers worldwide.
Did you sell to IBM?
I think that I owe IBM the majority of what it means to run a business and what it means to get into tough situation that, for instance, very big customers want to work with IBM, but you're overpricing because you have the IBM brand. So we had lots of challenging times in IBM, how to sell our solutions to the market, even to the big ones. And it was a really, really good place to learn what it means to run a business. So I was managing a group of P&L, and I had my KPIs from profit to revenue to utilization, all of the process, and it's business school for life.
I can imagine. And why did you decide to sell?
I wanted to reach globally. So once I've accomplished this KPI, I sold my company to a very big American firm. I stayed in the company after I sold the company for an additional 4 years. Up until the point I said, okay, I need to move to the next challenge. This is one of my bugs. I cannot sit, hold, and constantly I'm thinking about new stuff. This is the entrepreneur's life. My wife is suffering, but my wife
following your path.
Yeah.
And was this the first company? Did you found it with your current co-founder?
No,
It's different.
So my previous startup, I've done it with basically in the first startup, I was the sole founder. I didn't have a co-founder. But in Gigaroo, it's different because it's more. First of all, it's more challenging, and the second one is you need to have a good team. And a good team, you need to have good co-founders that really you can rely on them.
Yeah.
So it was an obvious decision to have a co-founder with me.
And how did you find him?
So I know my co-founder Yair for a couple of years. So when I don't remember exactly when it was, about 5 years ago, we were introduced by a mutual friend. Mm-hmm. And we work on these many projects together. And when the idea came, I immediately called him. Listen, there's a great idea. He's expert in business development. He's expert in marketing. And so I just called him, listen, and from 1 week to another, we said, okay, we have a startup.
That's awesome that he said yes so quickly. You must have had a good relationship.
We validated. It wasn't quickly. So when you're in our position, you want to make sure. So we're not kids. We're not 18 that, okay, let's do this venture. We have families, and when we decide that we want to go to a new venture, we must validate there is a pain and a need, and that this idea can be fundable. So once we thought about the idea, it started about August 2022.
How did you think about it?
So a close friend of mine, he bought my solution for my first startup. He's the owner of the Israeli AMC movie theater. Mm-hmm. And we were sitting in his office after COVID. I asked him about how everything is going. He told me about this pain. Mm-hmm. So that came from the service industry. Additionally, pain came from my teenager girl. She's 17. And on a daily basis, she comes and asks me, listen, Dad, I need money. So I'm telling her, listen, get a job. And she said, okay. But then I saw that she's replacing every 3 to 4 weeks. And she was working in the service industry. And when I asked her why, she told me, they don't give me the flexible shift that I need, this and that. So I saw that there is a really, really pain. And the industry, the service industry is broken because of that. So I combined and I saw this. So we started to investigate it more. I called my partner. We decided to investigate it. It took us, I think, 2 to 3 months to validate it. We've done the validation by ourselves.
How did you validate it? What are the ways to validate an idea?
So first of all, you're doing research. You're reading lots of information online, statistics. Then you must go to the local market that you want to validate and to meet with people. So we financed ourselves a couple of months. We came to Austin. We met with dozens of businesses, we've done lots of surveys. Mm-hmm. I was walking about a year ago with my iPad all over campuses with my backpack. Wow. In the heat, and just went to student and asked them to have our surveys, to fill our surveys. I sat with them together. We gave them like a free Amazon gift card just to give us information. And once we saw there is a real pain, and that we validated that with the businesses and with the Gen Z, we decided, okay, let's go for it. So the idea came up in August. We finalized the validation in November. We decided to open everything in December, and the first funding came on February, and that's it.
So how do you get started? You have the idea, you have validated it. What's the first thing you do? You build an app?
Yeah, so I think one of the steps that is really, really fun and challenging is once you have this idea, now you want to make sure that you're doing it better than all of the other competitors. And you need to have a unique value proposition. So of course we've downloaded all of the existing apps. We understood what is happening. We applied for dozens of positions to see what is the process and everything. And once we have done that, our product manager started to design the steps that we want to have. We took internal resources. We believe that if we need to be very fast, some roles inside of the company must be internal. We cannot outsource it.
So the first thing was you hired a PM?
A product manager,
wow.
Exactly. Yeah. So with the product manager, we started to run designs, Figmas or XDs.
Why not a UI researcher? Why a product manager?
I don't know. I think that again, we knew what we need to do. So again, we already experienced in developing that kind of a solution. So we just skipped the phase of taking some outsourced UI company or something like that. So we started to sketch, to design it. That was the funnest. We had great time over there because there was lots of discussions, and we're going to do this, that, the other competitors doing. So you find your value proposition not only from business side, but also from inside of the app, how it's supposed to be tailored for Gen Z. Now, what we have done, and that was why our app is super successful among Gen Z, is we took a Gen Z designer. So I've interviewed, I don't know, say dozens of, but couple of Gen Z designers. I wanted to see their uniqueness, how they approach it. And I gave them this task, and the one that showed us, the best result, this is the one that we chose, and we're working up until today. And he taught us, because we're not Gen Z. Now, the very basic things that you need to know is that we, the founders, we're not the users of our product. So we need to find someone that is among of our user. So we could have bring some designer that is in the age of 30, 35, that has tons of experience behind them, but we need someone that is Gen Z, that knows to speak, knows exactly what it means to work with Snapchat. And we're not coming from Snapchat. So I think that was one of the key elements of the success of the app, that we took someone from the generation. And the rest is history.
It seems like you had a smooth path from having the idea to...
No.
So talk about failures. What have you done wrong? What did you learn from it?
Wow. We have done... So I don't know if every founder knows that, mainly the ones that are, in their early steps, that they're young and this is their first startup. The reason why you need money is to overcome the mistakes that you're doing. And we've done lots of mistakes. We've done lots of processes inside of the app mistakes. If you would ask me today, I could save, I don't know if a third of our budget, but lots of money in taking a different approaches. That it took us time to understand that we didn't need to have this and that inside of the app. We invested. So
when it comes to UI, you had the first UI version, you tested it out on customers, it didn't work?
Yeah, so it's not only UI, but it's also the technology that you use. I will not get into too details, but there are several of ways that you can develop an app. It's with native, which is the most expensive one.
Yeah.
The middle, it's Flutter. The next one is PWA. So, and it depends what you want to achieve. And there's a great book, The Lean Startup. When you need to be lean, you need to make sure what is a must. And the ones that what is a must, I think that we could have done better than what we've done so far. So we've done lots of mistakes over there. It took us time to correct it. So nothing is smooth, even though it sounds like, but believe me, it's a roller coaster.
I believe you. I've gone through it myself. So once you have the first UI sketch, do you build the app from there, or do you somehow test it?
No, we test it.
How do you test it?
So from our first and second visit in Austin, we knew that we want to have Gen Zers that we will get their advice and their feedback about our sketches and design. So we collected, so we've done a user group testing. We came here again once we have the basic sketches of the app. We've done a meeting together with them. We showed them several of options. They chose what is the best one. We got all of the comments. We interviewed them, in every basic methodology. And once we got the confirmation that this is the sketch, so for instance, we have in our app, the last question that we ask you is, what is your availability? Now, when we saw in our mind how we ask this question and how we supposed to show it in the app, it was very different than what our users has asked us. So
can you give me example?
yeah, so we wanted, so what is your availability? So we wanted that, you will have from Monday to Sunday, and you have these icons of morning, middle of the day, night. It's like a small icons that you can choose. But in the actual life, what they chose is that you will ask the question, what is my availability? And you will just give them on a daily basis, on every day, time slots. Now, it sounds like it's, for us as a UI, it's like an odd request because it's old-fashioned or it doesn't look that good. But in reality, this is the functionality because they click their time slots. And even though the screen looks not that sophisticated, the simplicity of that was the solution.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you have more detailed data, which is better for you.
Yeah, so we collect data on a daily basis. We're using with several of analytical tools over the app. We're also doing recording. We're testing and analyzing our landing pages, which is, it's an endless story. You do it on a daily basis, and in this process, so again, it's not smooth. You test it. You're doing lots of A/B testing. What works, what doesn't work. And
to this day, you're still iterating the app.
Yeah, for sure. On a daily basis, we're analyzing the data on a daily basis. So if we're changing this and this text or icons or visual in the campaign, how many conversion we get to the download. So literally on a daily basis, we're talking with the team and we're not trying to do on a daily basis changes, but we analyze it on a daily basis and we're doing changes every 1 or 2 weeks.
That's how it should be.
We're only in the beginning. We're only 4 months from our launch. Yeah, it's not that we're running, live for 2 years. We're only in the beginning, and we have lots to learn and to process.
So to summarize your failures, you said the biggest one was the process and the technology that you used.
I don't know if to say if it's the biggest, but we could have done much better with choosing a more light technology.
How would you have gone about it? Would you have hired a consultant, or would you have spoken to some people?
Yeah, so we analyzed, so the way that we chose it, so we knew the technologies. Our VP R&D, he has 20 years of experience behind him. He knows all of the technologies as well as I do, and we did consult with external consultants. What is the best approach? Yeah. Now, what led us to the solution that we've decided is the uniqueness of the visual that we want to have in the app. So when you design something not in a native, you don't get the full functionality and visibility like a native app. Now this is a compromise because you don't get the full functionality of the iPhone, but you get the feature. Now, what is better, to get the full functionality that it will look $1 million, or so we took the approach that the visual for us, it's one of the crucial parts in the development. So we invested more time on that. And when I examined it, these days, I think that we could save lots of money if we would go to the other way. We don't need the 100% best visual, but we do need the signals that it's working and it's good enough to do it with a less quality of technology.
Let's talk about hiring. You said you have a co-founder that you've had a good relationship with for many years. He was your good friend. Then you hired a PM to work on UI. Then you hired a Gen Z designer to sort of validate it and make the best UI. Anyone else that you hired in the first 4 months, 5 months? Yeah,
so we've hired, of course, developers.
And then brand ambassadors.
And QA. Yeah, so the brand ambassador came later on. So basically, it's an ongoing process. So at the beginning, so it was me and my co-founder. Then it was our VP R&D, which is part of us. He's not a founder, but he's very close to all of the decision making in the company.
VP of R&D.
VP of R&D. Yeah.
What's his job?
He's responsible for the whole development. So he's doing a hands-on job, but he's also managing the other developers that we have.
But you say you were technical. Are you not developing?
No, I'm not. I'm not developing in the last 15, 16 years. I know technology. Nobody can, tell me something that I don't understand. I'm not coding, but I know everything. My MBA was on machine learning, so I literally wrote an algorithm by myself. So I know everything that relates to code, but I'm not a coder in the last 15 years. So we hired them. You need to have a good team in order to be successful. And also here, the first product manager wasn't that good, so we need to replace him.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and that was a painful process. Because again, basically sometimes you compromise on the quality because you need to get the progress. So it's not that you can find the best team in the minute that you start the company, because you recruit someone, you're making sure that they're fitting to the job. If not, it's a painful process. You need to replace them, and we have done it. And then we took developers. We started in offshore because the prices were low, but then we saw that the quality wasn't that good. So then we decided to relieve them and to take internal resources from Israel that is working with us constantly. And sometimes there is language barrier. Sometimes there is the gap of in a global company. So if you're a very big company, global company, you have all of these procedures that helps you to overcome these obstacles. But when you are a startup and you need to go very, very fast, you don't have time to do specification for everything, and you don't have the time to do testing and everything. So you need to have a small team that talks to each other behind themselves. Okay, see this. Okay, let's correct it. So time is on the essence. We had a very aggressive timelines before we launched the product, and so as you see, it wasn't a smooth process. We had lots of difficulties, challenges, but I think every startup has more or some of those challenges.
So apart from this one guy in Israel, are you fully remote, or are you in person? But this guy.
So we work. So part of the time we're working from the office, and so 50% from the office, 50% remotely.
So everyone else is in Austin.
The whole operation and HQ is here in Austin. Okay. Our customer success, brand ambassadors. We have someone working with us part-time in sales.
How many people do you have?
Here in the US, we have 4 brand ambassadors. We have 1 social media. She's doing an amazing job in our social media, also part-time. She's also Gen Z. This is success. Yeah. I need to hire a chief Gen Z officer.
Yeah,
this is also this is on my checklist. Once we will fundraise the next round, I'm sure we're going to have a chief Gen Z officer. So I think we have they're not full-time, but 1 full-time with customer success. The rest of them are part-time working with us. I think in overall it's 6.
6 people.
Yeah, in the US.
And then how many outside of the US?
Additional 5.
5 people.
Yeah.
So 11.
Yeah, but not full-time. So full-time, we're 5-6 full-time, and the rest is part-time.
And what do you look for when hiring? What are the questions you ask? What are the qualities you're looking for?
It depends on the role. So every role has its own uniqueness and qualities. So for developers, it's more easy to test them. But when you're trying, for instance, we had a failure with the product manager. We recruited someone, and it wasn't a fit to what we needed. So we needed to improve our questions. And even though we have talked to the references, even though their reference says, wow, they're the best fit, they weren't the best fit.
How do you make a decision like that? Like, should you spend more time with them, training them, versus should you fire them immediately, find someone else?
So in this type of role of, for instance, product manager, you don't have time to train. You want someone that has the experience. So you're trying to validate that with in the beginning to see what are their past experience, to talk with their references. Now, when we saw that this is not enough because you're talking with people, and these days everybody knows, even though they haven't done any product manager, they can talk like they were doing product manager for many years. So we saw that this is a challenge, and we cannot validate that internally. We cannot talk with the teams that they used to work with. So we give them tasks, specific tasks. Okay, this is the task. What would you this and that? So we wanted to understand how they think, how they react, how they see risk, how they manage it with a little task that we gave them. And that helped us a lot. So I can tell you that so we replaced 2 product manager. So now the third one is amazing. Because again, we knew, so we developed ourselves also, what type of question we need to ask. All of them on the paper was the best fit. But in reality, we saw that once you started to work, they don't deliver what they should have.
Right.
So yeah, it was a process. And
so was it mainly about them not getting things done? Or was it about their thinking process?
It's not about the things getting done. It's about how they promote things, the methodology, how they see the B2C side, what it means to run a B2C app. The user behavior, the user, all of these small gestures that you have inside of the app, what it means to understand from A to Z our app. If you're doing one change in one screen, what it means on the other screens in the process. So you need to know someone that understands the full process and understand if he's doing one change, how the whole process itself is going to be impacted. And that was the biggest challenge. And you see that if they have done it in the past, they know to guide us. So all of the discussion that we have, a good product manager supposed to listen, guys, I know what the process is. This is the best practice. You don't need now to investigate and understand. And this is what we have today. We have someone that knows exactly the process. He's guiding us. He's leading us. There's no too many discussion that is not relevant.
That's amazing. You found them.
It took us time, but yeah.
I'm sure that you must be paying them well as well, since they're an experienced product manager in-house. Tell me about fundraising. How much have you raised so far? What series are you at? What are your plans?
So we've raised up until now $2.5 million from US investors and Israeli one, also from VCs. We're currently raising additional $1.5 million because we want to show the success not only of the pillar 1 of the matching, but also for the payments. And then next year, the plan is that in Q3 or 4, we will go for the seeds round once we have finalized the 2 successful pillars. And then we will get a better valuation because in the current market, it's so challenging to get. We don't want to get into this discussion of what is the valuation because then the whole discussion will be not relevant. Because
so you're raising through SAFE?
Through SAFE, yeah.
Okay.
The first one was through SAFE and also now.
Do you pitch differently to Israeli versus US investors? Do you have different slide decks? What does your pitch deck look like?
It's an interesting question. I can tell you that up until a month ago, it was only one pitch deck. In the last months, I found myself running with 2 different pitch decks. And it doesn't relate with which is if it's Israeli or not. It relates to the domain that this specific investor is coming from. So we have 2 different type of messaging and information that we show that if you're coming from this industry, you get the information that you need. If you're coming from this industry, you get the information that you need. Someone once told me that if you're applying for a position, you need to have each CV to the specific position that you're applying to. There cannot be one CV. I think, and again, I don't know for sure. I think that we as a founders, we need to have several of decks to a specific investor, because, by the way, we need also to validate the VC.
Yeah.
It's not that they only doing the due diligence on us. We need to test them as well to make sure that they fit to us.
How do you test them?
The very basic one, you're going online. So I'm going to Crunchbase, Google, LinkedIn, making sure to understand what they're doing, what are the domains that they invest. I can tell you that in the last couple of months, because everything is so time consuming, whenever I'm talking with investor, I'm immediately, once we're talking, I'm asking them, okay, we are in this step, in this, this is what we're looking for. And I'm just asking them. And if they're not aligned with what we need, okay, I will update you in the. So there is two approaches. There's one approach that you need to meet with as many as possible, because it's a numbers game.
Yep.
I don't believe in that sentence that it's a numbers game. I believe that find the right relevant investor and then put everything that you need. So meet with 100, but make sure that this 100 is relevant for you. Because if I'm meeting, like about 2 weeks ago, someone referred me to a VC that invests in cyber. So I said, why do I need to meet him? It's in cyber. It's not in our domain. So you need to make sure that they're relevant for you, and then you're putting your resources exactly where you need.
So are your ideal investors B2B or B2C?
I don't think...
What are the requirements that you're looking at?
So we're looking for an investor that invests in fintech and future of work. And inside those domains, there are B2B and B2C options. So first of all, if they're investing in fintech or future of work, this is the number one. Then, because we are... you can call us B2B2C, because we have everything. We have the supply and demand side. And in fintech, you have both of them. And in future of work, you have both of them. So we're coming from the domain that the investor invests, and less if you are a B2B. So if you're SaaS B2B, of course, we will not approach you. But if you are future of work, fintech, and working with a B2C and B2B, we are the right choice for you.
It's funny that you said next year you're planning to raise series seed series. Seed. But you've already raised 2.5 million, which is like way above seed. Seed is like, I would say 1.5.
It depends. I think that these days everything started to get like vague before the big, before everything just happened a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
What used to be pre-seed is seed, what used to be seed is A, so it varies. Personally, I think pre-seed and seed, it's only a name, a matter of speech, but because again, it's. I think once you approach to A, that once you're going to A, you need to show the success by revenue. Yeah. This is where you start the real count, but pre-seed, early seed, seed 2 or pre-seed 2, all of those, whatever, it's just the names. I don't know who gives them these names, but we're raising money, and this is what we've done so far. You want to call it pre-seed, call it pre-seed. You want to call it seed, whatever fits you.
Well, because you're still at the very early stage of running a company, you have product in market, but your revenue is not huge. Do you lead with the story when fundraising, or do you lead with data and statistics and how much money you've made and traction?
So we do both. So first of all, when we started our journey, we didn't. So there was no requirement to have revenue in pre-seed, because pre-seed you just need to show product market, or the early stage of product market fit. What it means that you have users, you have testimonials from businesses saying exactly what it is, and then you're funding the next round to show revenue. So this is what we were doing. Now everything was upside down, and now everybody wants to see revenue. So we are showing revenue, but it's not the revenue that this is our mainstream revenue. So it's coming from the businesses which is only the hook. So again, so it is what it is. So we're showing what we have, we're showing the numbers, we show the success, what we plan to have. So we plan, for instance, to have after 4 months 1,000 users working with 5 businesses over 20 locations, and to have 2-3 success stories. And the actual is after 4 months, we have almost 7,000 users. We're working with 32 brands over 97 locations.
Yeah.
We have almost 10 success stories. So for us, it's a success. And again, if someone see this information and see, okay, Gigaroo is successful because this is a great numbers, then it's great. But if the only thing that they're looking for is revenue, and that's it, and they don't care about the process, about the market, what we've gained, it's not a fit.
You talk about revenue. You charge $99 per month per customer, regardless of how many branches they have. That's obviously not a sustainable way to make money. Imagine you have McDonald's as your customer and you charge them $99 per month.
Yeah.
So how do you get to Series A? How do you get to those millions of dollars of monthly revenue to really raise significant funding?
From our fintech solution, from the next day payments. So our revenue model is coming from the next day payments. So we have several of revenue streams that coming from there. So first of all, once you're providing this advance, the user is paying a commission. So they're paying between $3 to $4 commission. So this is number one, and this is huge numbers. The second one is interchange. So it's also huge numbers. So those two numbers, when you look at our forecast about the next day payments, we're getting to $1 million of ARR after a couple of months.
So they're paying commission from the salary they got.
From the withdrawal of
From the withdrawals.
Yes, because it's not a salary. So here in the US, you're getting paid on a bi-weekly. So instead to wait 2 weeks for your salary, once you finished yesterday, let's say that you've earned $200, you want to get it in the next day, you will get 196 of them.
Okay, right.
And on those $4, this is those are the numbers.
Makes
huge
sense.
Numbers.
Makes sense. So what advice do you have for aspiring startup founders? A lot of my listeners are either founders at early stages or aspiring founders. Do you have any advice for them? Anything they should avoid? Anything they should do?
I don't have anything specifically to advise them, because again, they will hear tons of advices. I can tell you that these days, even me as experienced entrepreneur, I'm getting, whenever I'm talking to, they're giving this feedback, and then I'm thinking, okay, are we doing correct or doing wrong? So it's so confusing. So I don't want to give advices, because there will be tons of advices. But I think as a founder, eventually, you need to decide according to your gut feelings. And up until now, 99% of my gut feelings was
correct.
At the spot what's correct. Even in the decision, by the way, that I took wrongly, because sometimes you as a CEO, you cannot decide on everything. You have a team, they want to get their own decisions, you need to support them. And I found myself a couple of times knowing that this is the wrong solution or the wrong way, but I need to support the team on their decision, because unless they will tell, okay, you're stopping us for what we want. So you need to have your hunches and to make sure that you know they serve you correctly. Don't meet with many people to get advice, because it will also only confuse you. And I think what is the most you need to be adjustable. You need to adjust. So you need to understand the signals from the market and to adjust, because if you will stay in your thought, that meaning, okay, I know exactly what it means and this is the only way, and they're all wrong and I'm right. I'm doing a self-checking on myself on a weekly basis. Was my decision were the right ones or not the right ones? How did I get to those decisions? So I'm mixing my decision between my experience that I have from my past experience through the data that I have. And us as a founders and CEO, we need to decide without the data because we don't have the data that we have. So only now we have 4 months user of a data, but when we started, we had no data and we need to get decision. So everybody's coming to me, okay, what is the decision that we need to take? Yeah. But now you're blamed for the good stuff and for the bad stuff. It doesn't matter that I didn't take the decision, but I supported the decision. So trust your gut feeling. Don't meet with too many people because it will only confuse you. Adjust as soon as possible. Try to be lean, really, really lean to show that there is a need, really, really need. And only then develop all of the big features that you want. And that's it, I think.
That's great advice. Thank you so much. In the last minute or so, actually, tell me, how can people find you? And why should they be using Gigaroo?
So you can find me here in Austin. My phone number is 512-333-1979. My email is adir@gigaroo.com. So you can approach me for any advice. I will be happy to sit with you, to support you, to give you whatever you need. And if you are a Gen Z that you're looking for an extra money, download the Gigaroo app, tell your friends, spread the word. That's it. We need it.
And the website is
gigaroo.com.
Well, thank you so much, Adir.
Thank you very much. It was fun.